So first of all, you can use our AI to generate your entire site. But in this tutorial, we are going to use a template and I will show you how you can edit it and where all the settings are. So if I go now here to sites, you can find all of your sites. But then if we navigate to templates, you can click and select the template that you want to edit. So for example, I will edit this template right now. And then I just click on use template. So once I've clicked on use template, the template opens for me and I can scroll through it. Now I'm going to explain to you where all of the settings are and how you can edit this template yourself. So first off, we have components. These are here placed on the website. If you want to edit a component, you can just go to edit. And here you can find everything that you want to edit. For example, the content, the links, but also the media. For example, the images or the videos, the colors. You can restore all colors to default, which will then apply the theme of your site. You can also change the layout and the behavior. Then here in the triple dots menu, you can exit full width, but you can then also set it back to full width. And you can also move this to the hero banner, which then would take the hero banner's position. This one would then go lower, as you can see, and then I can set it back as the hero banner if I want to again. Now once the hero banner is set, it will change the colors of your title and of the active tab navigation. I'll show you in a bit how to change that back. Now if we look further, we can also save components here and we can decide if we want to show this component on mobile or not. So if I show it on mobile, it will show here. If not, it will not show here. And this is where you can check your mobile website. You can also check your tablet website here and you can go back to your desktop website. Now if I want to combine templates and different pages and the components of all templates, all I have to do is I have to go to the plus menu here or this one here, and then it will open the menu. Now I can go through all of the components that have been made and added so far. So as you can see, these are all of the components sorted by popularity, but I can also sort them by newest first and browse through them if I, for example, want to check if there are some new ones. Then here I can filter them. Then here, for example, I can look for all of the hero banners. Maybe I want to add a different one to make the template, for example, look unique. So then let's say I add that. I can go and then just add this as a hero banner. Now, for example, here you can see that the overlay color is too light. So I can go to colors and set the overlay color back. And then this is done. Now, for example, I can go and change the images. And I can do that here as well as add in background video. Now if there is a page missing that I want to add, what I can do is I can go here and add new page, but I can also go to pages and subpages and add a page here. These are the navigation pages, the ones that show up here. And these are the subpages, the ones that you can link these pages or components to. So for example, I can go and click on new page here. And then I can do the same thing as the components. I can look through all of the pages that have been added to templates so far, and I can combine templates this way. So now, for example, if there was another template that had pages that I want to combine with the template that I've chosen, I can just go and do that. I can add it to the site and then I can edit that as well. Now, for example, if I want to link subpages here, I can go to edit and I can link a subpage. For example, I can do the gallery example here and then this one will then on the live site link there. But now another thing that we can do is we can click here and we can add spaces if we want more space, but we can also press slash and then find all of the things that we can add. So for example, we can go to components, add components, but we can do more than that. We can also add pages, which then will just add a new page here. But we can also go and add headings, quotes, and just basic components that are not editable by AI. But another thing we can do is add an AI block. So then what will happen is you will have an AI block here and you can tell it whatever you want to create. So for example, let's just create something simple like a triple cards component. The more specific you are here, the better. But we also have a prompt guide where you can find a lot of info on how to prompt our AI to get the best results. So here, for example, what I'm going to say is, please create a 3-column component and in each column have an image, a title below the image and a description below the title. So now we'll create this and then if we want to, we can create more of these simultaneously. So we can just go add another one and we can create the next one. In this way we will be much faster. As you can see, now it created and now we can go and change the media. So for example, here we can add a couple of images. And now that we've added the images, we can also change the text. We can change it by just editing it here, or we can tell it what to add. We can, for example, say, well, the first one is a commercial about this, the first one about that, the second about that, the third one about this. And then we can just tell it to change it. But in this one, there's not that much text to change, so we can just do it in the editing menu here. But then another interesting thing is we can look and go to media and see what is editable. So as you can see, the image height and the image border radius editable, but we can tell it to make more things editable if we want to. We can, for example, say, please add a border width editable to each image with an editable color. So now it will add that as well, and we can then go back here and change it afterwards. But in the meantime, I'm going to show you a couple more things that are editable about your website. So if you go here to edit layout, you can choose to make the navigation sticky or non-sticky. If it is sticky, it will stay to the top. If it's non-sticky, it will not stay to the top. It will only show when you scroll all the way to the top. Then we can also change the site width. So for example, we can make your site more narrow. So as you can see now, this AI has finished. So let's check it out. So if we go to image border color, we can set the image border color. But here we can probably set the width as well. So as you can see, we now have an image width set with the border color, and that is now fixed. So this way you can do a lot of cool changes that you want. You can, for example, also say, please, when scrolling into view, animate the images and texts in nicely. So now it will add that as well. But in the meantime, I'm going to explain you how you can change a couple of things about the header as well. So if we go to edit layout, we can change the header, as you can see. But now in the future, we will also add headers here. So there will be a new type of components here that will say headers that you can then add to your header, and then you can play around with that to get a more customizable design. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that when you add a hero banner to the top of your page, sometimes it changes the tile color and the active tab color. And then you can change that per page here. So if you go to styles and fonts, this is where I will explain how to change it for the entire site. But right here, you can change it per page. So what you would do then, let's say it was set to white, we would go and change it back to black. So as you can see, you can also do restore to default, and then it will restore the color and set it to the theme color that it was set to. Now, if you want, you can also add a button here that you can edit and link anything to. If you click, you can link the pages, subpages, or sections, but you can also link any external link. If you want to delete the button again, you can delete it. And now on the live site, your navigation will show up on the right. Now, if we want to check out the live site, we can go to preview and we can add any domain here, which will be a subdomain to site.framekit.ai/your-subdomain. If you then want to check it out, you can click here. And this is where you can view all of your changes so far. But then if we want to add a real domain, we can do that as well. So if we go to settings, this is where we can find all of the settings of your site, but also the domains. So this is where you would have to upgrade your plan. And then there's a guide waiting for you there on how to simply add your domain. In general settings, we can change the project name, the site title, and the SEO description. But we can also change the subdomain here again. And here we can set an icon that will show up in the browser. And then once upgraded here, we can remove the Framekit badge. Now, if we go to emails and forms, this is where you will receive the form submissions of the components that you've added or of the AI forms that you've added yourself. Now, if we go back, I'll show you how to do that. Now, let's say, for example, we want the contact page and we've added this. If we now publish this and someone fills it out, you will receive this submission under settings and then under form submissions. If we, for example, want to create a form that does not exist yet, we can go and we can add an AI component. And we can tell it to create any form that we want. We can, for example, say, please create a simple form for my videography service clients to reach out to me. Now, if we go to the footer, by the way, we can also remove the footer. And if we add anything to the site, we can replace this basic footer by just clicking here and adding this to the footer. And by the way, if you want to see your site in dark mode, because maybe you have a dark theme, you can just click here and view it in dark mode as well. So as you can see, now it created the form, and then we can just publish this, and now people can reach out to us. If we want to make any changes to it, we can just type the changes that we want out here. We can also make things editable. So if there's something that's not editable right now, we can just tell it to make it editable. For example, the container border radius is editable, but maybe something else is not, and we can tell it to make it editable. Now, if you want to change the position of components that you've already edited, you can go here and you can drag to move this. So as you can see, if I hold it, I can drag it, and then I can go down and edit wherever I want. So for example here, now I've changed the position of the component. And then here, if I want to change the theme, I can just go to our themes. And as you can see, all of these default themes have been added. You can just add them and use them with one click. So as you can see now, I've added this one. And what I can do now is change each of these individual colors as well, if I want to make it look more like my own. Now, if you want to have, for example, a transparent header with blur, if I go here, I can make the blur 10, or I can make it 0. If I make it 10, the background will be blurred. If I keep it on 0, it will look transparent. Now, for example, if I want to make it completely transparent, I can also take the opacity down to 0. So what I do is I go to the navigation background and I can take it to 0. And now it's completely transparent. As you can see, we still have the blur. So if we want to take that out as well, we can go and take this to 0. There's still this little border. So to remove that, we have to go to the navigation border and take this back to 0 as well. Now, lastly, if there's any problem that you're into, you can just go back to your pages. And then here you can click on support. We are there to help you 24/7, so just reach out to us. So those were just the fundamentals. If you want to learn more in depth about every setting and how we create these websites from scratch, then check out the next tutorials.